meeting to order. It is 5:36. Shannon sent out an amended agenda or a slightly adjusted agenda. Are there any other changes that folks would like to make on the agenda? We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. It is 5:30. Not sure why I heard myself.
Sorry, that was my fault. I had a reverb. My YouTube wasn't muted.
All right, you're good. So are there any other changes to the agenda?
Not here.
All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll move to approve the agenda as written.
All right, Barry is moved. Is there a second?
I second having a slightly shorter meeting.
Kathleen, second. Any discussion, any debate? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the agenda is approved. And we don't have minutes this time because they're not ready. They'll be ready next month. We have no presentation. So now we're to the discussion of the prioritization of unfunded items. Shannon, do you want to kick that off?
Okay, I told them to look for you.
I'm going to try and screen share that document with you all. So these are just the items that you may have remember that we had removed from our budget just to try and be a little bit more fiscally conservative because we don't know what food and beverage tax revenues are going to look like. I'm going to try and share that. I did some very rough initial numbers in a very light gray because I didn't want anyone to feel like they had to go any certain way with this. It was just like giving you an idea of these are the things that we should be thinking about when we number these things. And if we want to put some reasoning off to the side, there's enough room here if we want to discuss kind of why we think it should be that prioritization. So when I get a request that's like, hey, why isn't this prioritized number one or whatever, then I can go ahead and offer this document. And then we just kind of have to check in and touch base to see how things are doing. Right now we have the end of FY20 data, but I don't have July numbers yet for FY21. So we'll probably just have to check in closer to December, January and see, because we do get those food and beverage numbers in arrears. I will say that I was looking at the end of FY20 and like March through July or March through June, we were down like 63%. It was pretty significant. Now the year overall doesn't look that bad because we had such a strong year in the beginning of FY20. So, but the end was not good. So if it continues to look that way, we may not be able to end up funding any of these things, but at least we do have them prioritized. Does that cover it? So
what is the overall figure then? You said March through June was down 63%. Where do we stand year to date?
So year to date for the whole year, it's about 17% or $6,500.
All right,
but if you look at just March through June, it's about 63% or $20,000.
What is the most recent month you have the food and bev tax info for?
June of 2020.
So Shannon, does the finance department do the figures for you, including the percentages?
No, I wish they would. That would be fantastic.
So
no, they give
the percent difference between fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 19. I think there's a decimal that needs to be moved. I think $6,600 is maybe closer to 2% rather than 17%. Does that make sense?
I will get finance to take a look and check my numbers. I emailed them on Friday to ask them. The other thing that finance can do at the end of the year, none of these numbers are final until I get their end of year report, because what happens is these will be slightly off because let's say a restaurant gets behind, they don't pay for 3 months, and then they come in March and pay 3 months worth. So that throws off our numbers back and forth. But yeah, finance gives me much better. This is a rough spreadsheet, rough numbers that I get from them.
So best guesstimate, just to give us a contextual idea of maybe how much we're looking at funding out of. Help us go a little backwards. So what I mean is how much are we working with as an extension of the previous question?
So we cut 62,948.50 out of this year's budget. You saying you want to see the total budget overall?
No, I didn't. That was the answer to my question. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think it's worth noting that from all accounts coming in to Chamber's office from local business people, you're going to see a really poor August after July, once July 31st with, we've talked about this, but to the bigger group, when we lost that, many people lost the additional unemployment funds, and we don't know what other factors may be at play, but most of our businesses have seen a huge downturn in August in terms of people being out shopping and eating. Shannon, are you frozen?
No, just trying to get my screen back up. There it goes. My screen sharing stopped functioning for a minute. Can you guys see that spreadsheet again?
Yes.
Okay.
I never could. How do I find it?
It should be showing on your screen as like another box.
Nope. Let's see. That's right. If I don't see it, that's fine.
And it was in the draft packet.
Okay.
I can resend it to you quickly if that would be helpful.
No, I'll follow along.
Shannon, I've got a question real fast. The parking study, and I'm sorry, I put my screen on mute so I could kind of look at it and y'all not see the whites in my eyes. What is involved in that? I mean, I would assume in order for them to do a parking study, they'd actually have to see people actively parking, not just going around and counting spaces.
Well, that's one piece of it, is going around and counting the spaces, looking at the square footage and the uses. So our retail, restaurant, kind of identifying whether or not, and this would be done by a consultant. So this was supposed to be kind of a three-way split project between the town, the TDA, and the tourism board, just to identify. I think we had started outlining an RFP, but when everything happened with COVID, we kind of stopped that because we knew we weren't going to have the extra money. But it was basically having a consultant count all the parking spaces, look at what all the uses are, how much square footage we have, and analyze our available parking. Also identify where we might be able to purchase and add parking, and what kind of cost that we would be looking at to do that. Because right now everything's anecdotal. Our last parking study was done in 2014. And things have changed a lot.
So I feel like we could do one of two things on this. We could kind of talk about it verbally. I mean, I was sitting here marking up, priorities and what I thought we probably would, just feasibility, if it's going to probably happen. And then, or we could, maybe there's a way we could use Submittable or something where folks can kind of rank them and we kind of just figure it out from there, maybe looking at averages or something, how many votes something got or whatever. But when I looked at some of this, I was just looking at, for example, I don't think there's going to be any training conferences or conventions. If it does, it's probably going to be another virtual thing. And I ain't paying for us to sit at a screen, or I don't feel like we should pay to go sit at a screen. I don't see last Fridays as being something we're going to be looking at in the spring of next year. At least not in a way that whatever funds are not expended on their current contract, they couldn't just take those funds and spend more, if they are able to do April, May, and June. If you're not paying for bands this fall, I kind of see them being able to take some of those dollars and, beef it up without us having to put in some extra dollars. And then I think this is where I dropped off the last time because of tech issues, but I don't see the parade happening either. Like those are just three things that I just thought, boom, boom, boom. I don't even know if we deprioritize them. Maybe we just take them off the list completely.
Well, Matt, I would agree that unused funds from this period of time because of COVID being, making it impossible for the contract partners to do the events that they're contracted to do would seem to equal some dollars available in the spring. And I really don't think we're going to run a parade in its normal fashion if we can't even get to phase 3. I mean, we're at a place right now of still 25 or less and on community as a gathering restriction. That makes it a little hard to see us being able to do a parade by the first Sunday in December. If we do it, it's probably going to be a very creative approach.
Yeah, and this list is a little bit outdated just because we put it together when we were doing the budget back in like May or June. So it's just a list of everything that was removed. So I see what Matt's saying though.
From the chamber's perspective, the only thing on this list that I think local businesses would be interested in is getting something happening about the parking issues. Of course, it's not an issue right now, but it's one of their number one talking points when they talk about why it's hard for them to survive in Hillsborough. So, I would say that would be of interest to your local business.
Yeah, maybe we can at least start like getting an RFP and putting it together, even if this might not be an ideal time in terms of being able to. I've not been able to find parking in downtown. I feel like it's been easy, and it's not just here. I've seen it in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Carborough. I'm at Carborough right now. I'm looking at a parking lot that's normally filled to the brim of cars, and there's like 2. So I don't know, if that's something we can budget or prioritize it higher up, and when the time's right, we can pull the trigger on it. Some of these other things, though, like the biodock and kiosks, that's something I feel like something that we could possibly move forward with, since it's not dependent on crowds and business and that sort of thing. Of moving those, probably the biodock's already number 1, and then maybe we move up the parking study and the kiosk wayfinding sign, maybe put that up to 3 and move the parking study, or move the kiosk signs up to 2 and the parking study up to maybe 3 on that, and then maybe drop down some of these others, like the training, conferences, convention, arts council, and parade. Just drop that, down to 6, 7, 8.
Is your goal for us to prioritize these, or to get serious about funding or not funding, or just to be aware of it, Shannon?
I think be aware of it, but also try and prioritize them. So if things really turn around and we end up having some money, more so than we thought we would, then we know what it is that we can spend it on. Now, the other option is, we just have a revenue overrun and that goes into fund balance. But if we think we can use, if revenues are looking really strong and we think that we can, do a budget amendment and try and fund some of these things to just keep tourism going, keep it alive, keep people coming, then it seems like a better use of the tax dollars if we have them to use them. in some way.
Just given recent experience, especially out on the street, people want to get out and do things. They're bored, and they've been using the Riverwalk, and also, you know, just walking along Churton Street, King Street, and on the West End. I see great, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm always asked for directions and guidance by people from out of town in these areas. And so, you know, I think it would be smart for us to prioritize given our current situation and knowing what the needs are. It may or may not be the case in the spring. Things may completely change, but I don't think it'll be completely changing. I think it'll be maybe just slightly better. People are still going to need guidance. They want to get out. They're coming here from, you know, 50 to 75 miles away. Give them some signage and some guidance. Signs at the Calvin Street entrance, I think would be very, very useful. Also at the visitor center. I also think in terms of getting word out about Hillsborough and the longevity of that message, you know, helping out with the Hillsborough architecture book, which that book, it's Orange County, but it's almost, it's 75% Hillsborough, or the county seat. And there's some really important writers and photographers involved in that. So that'll really help things. I just think in terms of the ripple effect in getting Hillsborough out there within what we're experiencing this year. Those are my thoughts on some priorities.
Are we, remind me, is the book, what would be the production time, and would it be sold? It's supposed to be accessible beyond the gift store, is that right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what's the production timeline?
Well, it was moving right along until recent events. I think we were still looking for a post-Christmas release, but I think things have been, or maybe I'm about 8 months off, but we were going to start some hardcore fundraising and getting promotional collateral out. I think around December, and getting letters out. I think there's only a little further left to go for fundraising. And so the
letter is ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Help me out with the dates, please.
The letter is ready.
It's been a month or so since we met. But that's going to have wide distribution, and it's going to have longevity, and it's going to be self-perpetuating. No one anticipates the Alliance or anyone else coming back for funds for republishing, because the whole project is designed to fund itself beyond this initial funding.
Yep.
So Kathleen, I agree with you making a good point about the kiosks being helpful in the time we're living at right now. And I don't remember a lot about this kayak entrance, but that also sounds like it speaks to people now who are, you know, trying to find things to do in the safety of the outdoor environment. So to me, that makes a lot of sense, that if we were going to start talking about funding something with all the uncertainty, and we don't know how much income we're going to have to keep our contracts up, you know, going forward, if we're going to spend something, it ought to be where we can really point to very quickly the benefit of that thing. And certainly the kiosk would be beneficial, I would hope, very quickly. I don't know how long it would take to get a kayak ramp or bio ramp or whatever up, but I think those are good points. I'm less sure about the book being impactful in a positive way. And I don't know if, I sort of agree with what Matt said, that maybe we just you need to do a survey monkey or something and let us rank them all, and you see where the consensus is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could set that up in Submittable the way that Matt described it, I think fairly easily. So that you go in and you just kind of give each thing its rank, like you did with the grants.
Well, let's do that, and then we can, Shannon, you can kind of parse through and figure out from, as if there's like 7 of us and maybe 10 different opinions. I know I can probably flip around a few times, and we'll go back and revisit it next month. Would probably be good.
Okay, that sounds good. I think that's clear enough direction for me.
All right. Next thing is just a quick update on the contract subcommittee meeting. I guess it was last week. It feels like 2 or 3 months now. Kathleen, Tommy, and I met and agreed that we basically, Shannon would move forward with a contract addendum for our contract partners. Shannon, do you kind of want to run through what that would look like?
Yeah, I sent a draft out for the committee to take a look at. Let me see if I can find that. But basically, it was just adding some more clarity and recommendations to that original addendum that I had sent out. Just trying to be a little bit clearer about what the expectations of the board were. Let's see if I can find it. And this will be ready in kind of a cleaner format. But basically, just expanding, the expectations for reopening, as soon as permitted, the expectations to continue to provide quality programming and encourage visitation, and then some more requirements and expectations for that for the standard quarterly report on what the operations and programming and marketing efforts were made, and if there's any changes that need to be made for the budget or for their scope of work based on, the current state of things. So we're still working on this as a subcommittee, but we were able to meet and make some headway. So I was pleased with that. And I don't know if Kathleen or Tommy want to add anything that I may have missed.
Pretty much sums it up for me.
Yeah, same here. Thank you.
Yeah, no. I think what we all discussed is pretty much, we want to kind of hold, these contract partners harmless in a way, but also, still holding them to a standard, since, they are going to be spending funds for us and giving them some additional flexibility. So I think what Shannon drafted up originally looked good. She was going to refine it. And Shannon, do we need to take action as a board on whether or not we're going to have the contractors sign or contract partners sign this, or is this just something we can move forward with and send to them if they'd like to take advantage of it?
Yeah, it's something that we would probably take action on at our next board meeting, October 5th.
Okay, great. Next is tourism staff. That reminds me, I got to email Lori about something. Tourism staff update.
Yeah, so these are just our rough numbers. Kathleen noted my math is not great, so I'll revisit that and make sure that it's correct. But I also have to get the final numbers from the finance department. Like I said, there's maybe a little bit of discrepancy. It's usually within $2,000 or $3,000. It's not huge, but I think when we're looking at a crisis, it's better to have the perfect numbers at year end. So I'll get that from them. The only other thing that I would update from Visitors Bureau is that Lori and the Visitors Bureau did have an intern put together a nice welcome back to Hillsborough video for us. It was kind of more of a slideshow video, but it's also, there's not budget for it. So it was nice that they did that, and we'll be sharing that a little bit more widely on social media. They shared it, and we usually kind of wait a week and then we share it, and then we'll be able to get that out. And then they're also still pushing out the local campaign, and I've shown you some snippets, but it's basically a map of Orange County that's illustrated kind of like our downtown maps are, in kind of a fun scene, and it's got like Chapel Hill and some attractions, Carborough and some attractions, Hillsborough and some attractions, And then their ads are basically kind of zoom in on each one and encourage people to be a tourist in their own backyard since people aren't traveling quite as much. So we're trying to hit that Orange County market and just get people out and about shopping and dining. I think that's all I had.
Shannon, can I just add one quick thing? The Visitor Center, for those of you who don't know, we are planning to open tomorrow. Yay.
Yay, that's important. Thank you, Sarah.
It's very important, yes. So Wednesday through Saturday, we'll be opening. We're doing modified reopening. So Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 4, and we're going to have very clear processes and procedures posted to the front door, allowing just one pod in at a time. And we'll see how it goes. But if anybody has any questions or wants to come to the Visitor Center, feel free to send them our way. So wish us luck.
Great. Anything else from Sarah or from Shannon? All right, hearing nothing on that end, are there any board comments that folks would like to make?
I would like to ask us all as tourism board members if you're willing and able to be out and support local, take pictures of yourself, post on, tag Visit Hillsborough NC, tag Hillsborough Orange County Chamber. We are working to promote better consumer confidence, supporting our local businesses who have invested money and time in providing safe environments, and always reminding people to wear your masks, but wear your mask, get out there and support these folks who are following all of the mandates and protocols to provide a safe shopping or dining experience. So we think that local leadership and recognizable folks joining in that effort to make it known that they support and are out there could be helpful to just our citizens who are following along on Facebook.
Get out there and buy something.
Well, I've certainly been out and about at the local restaurants and all over the county, and really I know a lot of our fast food restaurants also are, owned by, local business people as well. But I've really been trying to, keep my dollars as local as possible. So I wish we could have like some sort of like frequent eater card, kind of like frequent flyer miles or something. And, after so many, visits to a local restaurant, you get some, token prize and gamify it or something. But
I did want to ask, this goes along with something Mayor Weaver had suggested, and Shannon and I have been batting around too, but I don't know if there's a budget anywhere to get some kind of gift card reward, reward gift card campaign going for X number of visits or X dollars spent puts you in a drawing for a significant gift card, something like that, as a possibility. But that kind of goes along with what you're saying, Matt.
I had a quick question, maybe Shannon, Matt, or Kim, you might know. I was looking quickly this afternoon based on being in phase 2.5. I was trying to figure out if the Orange County guidelines differ from just kind of the general state guidelines, but I couldn't find that info immediately.
They only differ in the state guidelines in terms of number of people that can congregate in an area. The mayors and the county board chair decided to make those a little bit stricter because of really a lot of the issues they're continuing to see in Chapel Hill. But everything else, from what I can tell, and Shannon, you can correct me if I'm wrong, everything else that I saw, even the bar service at restaurants went back to, basically defaulted back up to the governor's order.
Okay, thanks. That's helpful. So 25 and 50, 25 indoors, 50 outside? Is that the?
No, that's the state one.
That's the state rule.
Okay.
We're still at 10 indoors and 25 outdoors, I believe.
25 outdoors. Okay. Thanks.
Tommy, did you know that they had allowed the bar service to resume?
I think a lot of folks still didn't know, even over the weekend when I spoke to folks that had been relaxed. But I don't know who's, I mean, they got the memo about the, you know, when they can serve up to 11 o'clock, but, or be open up until 11 o'clock. But I don't know how many establishments knew they could resume bar service again.
I didn't know it. I mean, I read that thing.
I'm doing my job. Congratulations. I feel like I'm spreading good news.
When I read the bar service resumed, I was looking at the times, like 11 p.m., which, you know, we close at 9, so I didn't think we were affected. But wow, that's good. I'll my wife is at work now. I'll call her when we're done and let her know.
Great.
The other thing to note is that all Orange County, a lot of our parks and rec departments weren't ready to open parks right away. And so I think a lot of them were looking at Friday, the 11th.
Same kind of thing when we went to phase 2 with the bathrooms at the parks. They weren't open right away because they didn't have a plan to get them cleaned properly, right?
Yeah, they got to clean everything. And then maintenance stuff has been deferred because if it's not open, you know, little painting, touches up, light bulbs, stuff like that.
Yeah, we had to, I think we actually, the town board had to go in and appropriate the money to do the cleaning before we could even open them. So, but, all right. Any other board comments? Nope. If not, it looks like y'all are going to get like 23 minutes back of your evening. So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Moved by Barney and seconded by Kathleen. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We're adjourned, and I'm looking forward to eating at the bar at Hillsborough Barbecue soon.
Well,
I got to come in for my brisket.
sounds good.
Nice.
Thank you,
All
man.
right. Talk to y'all later.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.